So I guess the visitor, the non-psychology department goes first. I'm in the Faculty of Business. My name is Dr. Haitham Khoury. I had a presentation prepared, but the system is not working with that. So I'm just going to read it and answer the questions that I thought would be important for you, for psych majors to decide if they want to get into industrial organizational psychology. So I think the best way to start is to give you my trajectory of how I got to where I am today. And I think through that we can answer a lot of your questions. I started out as a pre-med, did a year and a half of that, or a year actually of that, and realized it's not mine. I realized psychiatry. I went to psychiatry, and then I thought psychology is actually more than what I want. And so I took at the time it was fall, it was May, in the summer, and I got a 19. And this is an invitation. And so I transferred to the psych department and continued from there. And I realized that when I graduated with a psychology degree, I really need to get my grades really well, because with a BA, I don't become a psychologist. I can't call myself that. I can get many jobs, but I won't be a psychologist. And so that's what I did. I worked very hard. I got jobs in at the time, as a counseling research assistant. A number of experiences with that, and got my BA in 1990. When did we graduate? 98. Miguel and I were in class together. We were classmates, and Charles, drawing, and started my master's in clinical psychology. Sorry. And started my master's in the program in general psychology, and was one of the first cohorts to go through what is now the clinical internship program, but at the time it was unofficial, with Khoury in the psychiatry in the OPD department. And that's when I realized clinical was not for me. I had very little patience for my patients. And so for their sake as well as mine, I thought I need to redirect. Again, I still wanted to help. I still enjoyed the topic of psychology. I loved the rigor of how we studied human behavior. And I was fortunate enough to receive the Fulbright Scholar Award in 2001. And that sent me to the US to do 1 year of research there. Once at USF, University of South Florida, which as a state school, it's nothing spectacular, but as an IO program, it's top 5 in the US. And that was the incentive. That was the criteria I looked at to choose my program. I didn't care about the name of the university. I cared about the status of the program, who was there, what are the faculty like, and that's what you should do when you're thinking about graduate school across the program. It's not the name, it's not Harvard or Columbia, it's the program itself. And those actually in psychology, especially the non-clinical, are in universities you might not think would be top programs there. Anyway, so I did 1 year, I liked it a lot, and I decided to apply for an MA PhD program combined. If that's the program it is, it's a non-terminal master's program, and I got in, and that's when I really found myself, this is what I wanted to do. 5 years later, 6 years later actually, I was a year late to my dissertation, I started working with consulting companies in the US. As part of my program, it was required, and I worked in the talent management, I worked for 2 years at Tampa Electric Company, in their training and, in their selection and training department. So I worked on anything from designing assessments, validation of assessments to hire. We worked on providing training, and the most basic administration of tests, assessments across careers. And then I moved to Home Depot in Atlanta for another 2 years, where I was in the talent management department there. And then I met with someone earlier today and asked me, why did you leave the US? I came back to that one. Visa. That's what happened. Visa ran out. I needed to continue my career path, and I looked towards Lebanon. I realized consulting was fun, but there was no internal consultant positions in the Middle East. There was always an external consultant position, which is not my favorite, personally. We'll tell you about those in a bit. And I found a position open at the business school in organizational behavior, which is what I call the business way of calling organizational psychology. With a little bit less of a focus on the human factors and really less valuing of the human, I think, but it's very similar to that. And so I applied. I also did try the psych department, just to let you know. There was no interest at the time for an IO program. Yes, it is true. In 2009. No, sorry, 2007 is when I first did this. So I came to AUB and I've been a professor here since then, working in research, but also finding another shift in my career. And that's another thing I want to tell you about. Careers are not the second you graduate, you have a BA in Psych, that is your career for life. Or even if you have a master's or a PhD, you have to be open to where you are, check in with yourself at every path that you go. Is this still what you want? Is there new things you can add? And you find your path through that. I find myself now veering away and missing the applied aspect of my job, my career, using assessments, developing them, guiding students. And so I now hold two positions. I'm an assistant professor of organizational behavior, but I'm also the director of career management services at the business school, working on anything targeting our students to prepare them as best as we can for the job market, from career advising to workshops on skill competency development and skills development beyond your CV writing and cover letters that we do. So that's me in short, in terms of the path that I got to. But what is IO psychology? I'm going to be very brief because I do have 22 slides and I think there are other faculty here who would like to see. It is applied social psychology. So if you enjoyed your course with Charles, Dr. Haitham, social psychology is I guess, the wider underpinning of IO psychology. It is applied social psychology in the workplace. It's scientific, it's an applied field, and we use scientific findings from research to implement in organizations, obviously to impact people's job performance, health, safety, overall well-being. It's about the positive impact. We're not setups, as a lot of my clinical friends like to tell us. IO psychology is, in my program, we divided it into two parts, the I and the O. The I is considered the harder part harder in terms of scientific rigor, if you would. It's the one that's involved with assessments, validations. It's about the one that goes into studying scientifically the jobs, developing assessment methods, selection methods, training and development programs, performance appraisals, talent management in general, and workforce planning. And then the O side is those who are interested in more of the research areas, and I guess we call it the softer side of IO, the job attitude, your commitment, organizational commitment, your job satisfaction, your job engagement, work-family conflict, conflict work behavior, citizenship behavior. These are all topics that we study. Stress and well-being, health in the workplace. There's an impact of IO psychology in a lot of organizations, regardless if they're private or public, for-profit, not-for-profit, government. It applies everywhere. But what can you do? Where can you go with an IO psychology degree? And I'm talking about a minimum of a master's, not with a BA, and of course an IO. Consulting with a master's, it opens up the door towards consulting. With a consulting company like your Big Four, and with those, Pricewaterhouse, PwC, Ernst & Young, McKinsey, may hire, and they call them human capital consultants, all the term. But internal consultants with organizations as well. So you work typically in either the talent management office, the department, or the HR office. But it's not HR. Academia, obviously, is where another large portion of IO psychologists go. And typically they're in psych departments or business schools. And most of the time, and you'll hear this across all faculty who present here, your time is spent teaching, research, service. Those are the three pillars of an academic job, really, with a huge stress on the research. You're going to go for a PhD. It's a great setup for a consulting job. But if you're interested in an academic job, a PhD is necessary. This is not an option. You get into the PhD and you go. Of course, there's overlap. A lot of practitioners teach, and a lot of faculty or researchers also practice on the side in their consulting. So there's always a mix and match of the two pieces. I have a whole lot of slides here that I'm going to send as a PDF to PSE to share with you because there are more details on how to become the process of applying for psychology, from recommendation letters to GRE scores, which are high important. At least from IO perspective, IO programs, they look for quantitative skills, quantitative evidence, and they use the GRE. argue if this is good, this is bad. That's not the discussion, that's what they use. And with a 3.9 GPA and a really high GRE, any program is yours. You'll be accepted. You've got a 3.2 and a decent GRE. Your choices are less, but not like they're non-existent, they exist. But here's the thing that I really want to tell you. If your grades aren't that great, and you take a moment and you think about it, why are my grades not that great? And if you think they reflect a lack of motivation from your part for school, for research, for studying, for reading, do you really want to spend the next 4 to 6 years of your life after graduation doing exactly that, researching, reading, and such? I don't want to dissuade you, but that is what the work entails. If you don't enjoy reading, if you don't enjoy researching, if you don't enjoy this, if you want to learn more about those, PhD is not for you. And it's not a bad thing. There are many other options that exist for you to have a successful career. I think it's also, the other candidates here would agree with me on this. My advice is to go to the best program that will accept you, but don't feel like you are settling for anything if you don't get into one of the top 5 programs. They're very good programs in there. And I have a list of the top 10 programs in the US that are accredited by the APA, as well as those in the UK accredited by the BPS. So yeah, these are where you can work. And I wanted to make sure about research. I think you asked us to talk about research. There are 3 IO psychologists at the UB. All of us are in the business school. There's Dr. Charlotte Haitham, who is an associate professor, and then there's Dr. Nina Daou, who is currently on maternity leave until January, when she returns, and there's myself. Within HR, we have, which is tangential, which is close enough to IO Psych in terms of research work. There's Dr. Khoury, also associate professor, who is on research leave until May, but don't worry, don't be afraid to contact them. And Dr. Beverly Metcalf, who is a visiting professor from the UK, from the University of Manchester, Manchester University, here for 2 years. She just started. She's running the Master's HR program. And then there are some related area professors who work in management or international management or development, organizational development. Dr. Bassam and Dr. Rida Diaz. They're actually a traveling couple. Hired them both at the OSD. And what else? Yes. If you want to learn more, go to SIOP.org. SIOP.org. That is the Society for Industrial Organization Psychology. There are resources there for students, for professionals. We talked about the conference. You can sign up as a student affiliate, access to their applications, tips on what to do for interviews, how to prepare for graduate school. If this is your career pathing, if you go consulting versus academic, sort of what to expect, how to grade the entry level, and then how you move up, typically, of course. I advise you also to read perhaps my advisor's book on psychology, Paul Spector. It's 6th edition, it's called Industrial Organization Psychology. And let's see. Lastly, salaries, right? Someone said something about salaries. I hate this one. Don't go for the salary. Go for what you like. The salary will come along, whatever you do. But, in case you're still curious, this is from 2012 median salaries from the US market. This is not, contextualize it within that. With an MA, the median salary is $82,000 in the US. This is all weighted to size of kind of city, metropolitan area or not. PhDs are about 119,000. Starting salaries for applied, median is about 80,000, academic 70. And then the difference in gender, there is a gender difference, as is always, yes, big boom. But there is an explanation for partly that explains the difference here. For men, it's about 120,000 in terms of median salaries, and for women, it's about 103,000. A lot of this difference, but not all of it, is explained by most of the men in the sample got their degrees earlier and got their higher degrees earlier than the women. Most of the women had decided to start families and then return, and so just at the convenient, at the time of sampling, that's where they were in their time. So taking research methods. Speaking of research methods, I do want to say a few words about this. Do not ignore your research methods 1 and 2 courses. Psychologists in general, but particularly IO psychologists, I know these courses. Statistics is a key part of it. My program has a requirement of 5 methods courses to graduate. This is a requirement, not, hey, fill it up. You have to take 5. 3 of them were statistics, and then 2 of them were methods and design. It's serious, and this is, you're talking about assessments and validation. This applies to all, I think, and that's it. Thank you.